Hi, guys. Welcome to another episode of Physician in the Kitchen. I'm your host, Dr. Monique, the plant-based board-certified physician you know as a physician in the kitchen. I help people discover, cook, and eat delicious plant-based foods because my mission is to fix America's health one plate at a time. Today, we are going to take, as my son would call it, a side quest. That means we're going to take a little trip. And today, we are going to NYC, New York City, hence my NYC apron today. So, as you may know, I am a native New Yorker. I am originally from the Bronx and I grew up in and around the city, but Charlotte, North Carolina is now my home. And of course, I am plant based. So, I enjoy, as you may know if you've watched other episodes, how I enjoy taking traditional meat based or regular meals and veganizing them or making them plant based. So today we are going to take a New York City, those street cart hot dogs, and we're going to veganize them. Now, guys, I'm gonna tell you, this is the premiere. I haven't even recipe tested this. So what you see is what you get. But I thought, why not? Why not use a seitan, which is one of my favorite meat replacements, and see what I can do as far as making it into a hot dog. And we even are going to make our version of that dirty water that people know that the hot dogs sit in. And we're going to use all the toppings, the sauerkraut, the tomato relish, the mustard, the ketchup, you name it. But before we do that, be sure to do all the things. Click like, share, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you never miss out on any of our plant-powered content. Now, I have to tell you, as you get older, at least for me, I realized there's some foods that I just can't eat anymore for various reasons. They don't sit right, they don't feel well, what have you. And unfortunately, New York City hot dogs was kind of one of those things. Not so much that it didn't make me feel good or I didn't feel good after it. I just started getting concerned. How clean is that water? How safe is this to eat? And actually, to be fair, they do have standards that they have to keep the hot dogs, that they have to be kept at a minimum of about 140 degrees Fahrenheit to prevent bacterial growth. And that water looks dirty or murky because it is a brine, so it has salt and spices in it. And if they're dipping and getting the hot dogs, they may get a little bit of fat as well as maybe even a little bit of the sauerkraut or what have you. So that contributes to the murky appearance of the water. It's not really dirty. It's just, what it's known as. But probably does have a lot of salt in it, and we know processed meats are not good for us, right? So we are going to do a plant-based version that is healthier and hopefully tastes just as good. But enough of that talking. Let's get to cooking. All right, so these ingredients are fairly simple and really should be in just about any plant-based kitchen or pantry. We've got some no sodium veggie stock that I made myself with no extra salt in it. My low sodium vegan Worcestershire sauce, some coconut aminos, and olive oil. So by doing that, we're already cutting down on the salt as compared to what you get from an actual street hot dog. Tomato paste, various spices such as onion and garlic powder, salt and pepper. And we've also got some smoked paprika and nutritional yeast. And because we're making seitan, we are using the vital gluten flour. So apologies, those of you who are gluten sensitive, this one is not for you. And for the casing, we are going to use some sheets of rice paper. All right, let's do it. All right, so we are going to have two bowls here, one for our wet, one for our dry. So for the dry, let's go ahead and just put everything together. Give it a good whisk. And we are going to taste this to make sure we don't need to, bump up our flavors once we get everything combined. And then for the wet, we just add all the wet ingredients together. So veggie stock, super easy to make at home. If you're not making it yourself, you really are missing out. Basically, as you meal prep and cook during the week, keep all your scraps from your onions, your bell pepper, your garlic. Throw that stuff in a bag in the freezer. And then when you have enough, just put it in some water in a pot, simmer it for about an hour, strain it, and you've got your very own veggie stock with no salt and no additives. And it's a great way to cut down on food waste because you're repurposing or using almost all of the vegetable that you use to cook. All right, so now we're going to whisk the tomato paste. Of course, in addition to giving it that umami flavor, it's also going to add to the coloring of our dogs, our hot dog. I'm from New York, so I'm contractually obligated to say hot dog. I can't say hot dog. That doesn't even sound right. What's a hot dog? I don't know. Doesn't sound like it tastes good though. My son was born in Charlotte, and so he teases me quite often about how I say my some of my words with the hard "or" sound. All right, so that looks pretty good. Now we're just gonna combine these and mix this into our dough. Let's combine these two. Now I'm gonna tell you, when I was a little girl, and as we moved out of the city and kind of moved up into like the White Plains area, Rockland County area, and so forth, Westchester County, then Rockland County. Whenever we go into the city, like to see Broadway shows or something like that, I still wanted to have one of those hot dogs. Like that to me is just quintessential New York. So I'm super excited to hopefully be able to recreate that with this. So now we're just going to work this dough. So that's why I've got some gloves on. And let me break out my cutting board. So I've got more space to work with that. And if you've got a stand mixer, you can let the dough hook do this part for you. I'm going to be using my multi-pot to steam them. So I am going to get my gadget fixed. So I'm not using the mixer for this part. But guys, this already smells good. This already smells like a hot dog. Oh my God. And wait till we do the water. So we're going to make the dirty water. And we're going to add some spices to that, such as cumin. And then that's really just going to tie it all together. And then we're going to steam our bread on top of that to infuse even more flavor. What? She's gone mad, y'all. She's gone quite mad. All right. So I'm going to knead this some more. And then we'll come back on the other side. So now my dough is kneaded. And we're going to cut this into, let's cut it in half. Let's see what that looks like. We should be able to get 4 dogs out of this. Let's see. Sorry. Okay. Next, then we're going to just roll them out to about 6 inches so that they are the shape of a hot dog. All right. So I have rolled out our first one here, and you want to do it to about the size of your bun, right? Because you want it to be typically a little longer than the size of your bun, or you want it to nestle just inside. So let me check my bun and make sure we're good. All right, so these are the buns I'm working with. The store didn't have what I really wanted, which is either a pretzel bun or like a brioche type bun. They didn't have those, so I had to go with the basic ones. But if you look and see, that's a pretty good fit. So let the bun be your guide. So we're going to go ahead and roll the rest of these out. Now, guys, I have to tell you how much fun I'm having doing this. This is a great recipe to make with the kiddos. And you probably could even use a rolling pin. We are developing that gluten here by working with it. And, hot dogs have, from what I recall, they do have a little bit of, kind of a snap back. They got a little, when you bite into them, they've got a little kind of a crisp, crunchy sort of, they're obviously not crunchy like potato chips, but when you first bite into that skin, you do feel a little bit of that resistance, and then you've got the meatiness inside. So that's what we are recreating here. We're just rolling these out, and then we're going to wrap them. So they don't have to be perfect because they're going to be covered up in our rice paper casing. All right, so we've got our dogs rolled out, and these are, they shrink a little bit. Hopefully steaming them will help them relax a little bit. But hey, it doesn't, if they're a little shorter than the bun, it's not going to be the end of the world. Next time I'll know, though, just to use a little bit more dough so that I have more room to work with them to make them longer. So, okay, now we're going to go ahead and soften our rice paper so that we can wrap these up. Okay, now before y'all come at me and say those are not the same color as hot dogs, listen, hot dogs are not the same color as hot dogs. Do you know how many artificial preservatives and color additives they are adding to make those hot dogs that color, that red dye number 5? So don't, like I said, don't come at me. But I do want it to be a little redder, so I'm going to just add a natural dye with some beet juice. So we're going to try this out and see how this comes out. So we're going to add this to the water that we are soaking our rice sheets in. Okay, guys, so I was trying to add some beet juice to see if that would help with the color of the paper, but it doesn't. It doesn't soak up the color. So next time we will just add it to it could be one of the wet ingredients that we use. Okay. So see guys, I told you this is trial and error in real time. So notes for next time. All right. So now we are going to wrap this. And these are just the spring rolls, the same rice paper that you get that they use to wrap your spring rolls in Asian restaurants. So we are going to roll this as tightly. Got a little color in there. Okay. Did work a little bit. Look at that. And there's our hot dog. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap the rest of these. And then we'll get them in the steamer for about 20 minutes. All right, so now I'm ready to make the quote unquote dirty water, and I've got my multi-pot here. I am going to first steam the water. So I've got the little lift here so that, I'm forgetting the proper name of this, but this basically keeps the food from sitting down in the water. So that goes in there. And first, actually, let's take that out because I'm going to go ahead and add my ingredients. So this is just some water. Of course, more of my vegan W sauce, and then some more spices, onion, garlic powder, some cumin, and some paprika. All right, and let's give this a quick stir. And we're gonna bring this to a simmer before we do anything else. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so what we're gonna do to simmer in this multi-pot is go to saute. And I'm going to turn this down to vegetables. It's not letting me change this to low. So instead what I'm going to do is press the button and then come here to temp and turn this down. So there you can see we're going to turn it down. Let's try that. And this is warming up. And then we'll simmer our dirty water. So you can hear it, it's starting to heat up. We don't want it to scorch, so we're gonna watch it pretty closely, but simmer just like on the stovetop. We're watching for those fine bubbles, not a rolling boil. Okay, so you can see steam is rising. So we're getting a nice little simmer here. So now we can put our grate on here. The platform, that's a better term for it. We're going to drop our platform down in here because we're going to now steam our hot dogs in this. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and put our dogs on top so they can steam for about 20 to 25 minutes. And that's just because this is seitan that we are making, and seitan has to steam. All right, got room for one more. Of course, you can do this on your stovetop as well. You don't have to use a multi-pot to do this, but all right, so that's what they look like, all snug in there. I'm going to give them each their own little space though, so they don't stick together because the rice paper is still sticky. Okay, now we're going to simmer this, now we're going to steam this. And while this is steaming, we'll be making our tomato relish to go on top. Okay, so while our dogs are steaming over there, we are going to go ahead and make the tomato. I don't know, this is like a tomato chutney almost, or a relish. And I'll be honest, I didn't usually get this on my hot dog, so I'm elevating my hot dog experience here. I'm a sauerkraut, spicy mustard, ketchup kind of girl, but we're going to add in the tomatoes here. So first we're going to just start by adding some olive oil to our skillet, and we're basically just going to cook this down to the consistency of, again, kind of like a relish almost. Pan starts to warm up. Give it a little bit more oil here. And I only had red onion, so I would probably make this with yellow onion next time, but I'm going with what I've got. which is red onion. It is going to be just fine, but yeah, I probably would do it with yellow next time. Okay, so I'm going to let these get about a 2 to 3 minute head start. Okay, so our onions are starting to caramelize just a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and add in my tomato paste. So again, we are building layers of umami. Since we're not using meat, we are using powerful umami flavor boosters, the Worcestershire sauce, the tomato paste, the ketchup, the onions. All of those are going to contribute, the cumin, all of that contributes to that umami or meaty flavor that we are missing by not using meat. Okay, let's deglaze a little bit with some vinegar, and then we're going to add in the rest. We got some ketchup, a little bit of sugar, some more spices, and then we're going to add in some water to loosen it up, and then we're just going to let this simmer for a few minutes. Give it a taste first, make sure our flavors are where we need them. All right, let's let this simmer for a couple more minutes, and then it'll be good to go. All right, so I think our tomato chutney or sauce looks perfect. So we're gonna go ahead and take that off the heat. All right, then we're gonna steam the buns once the hot dogs are done and put everything together and taste this baby. All right, so it's time to go ahead and take our dogs out of the steam bath they've been in. Oh my goodness, look at that. Look how they puffed up. So now what we're gonna do is actually let them sit in the water for a few minutes to soak up that flavor. So remember, this is the dirty water, right? So we're gonna let them soak in that water, because when you order your hot dog and they make it right in front of you, they're taking it out of that water. So we're recreating that part of the experience right now. All right, so what I'm gonna do here is see if I can just flip these off of here. Okay, let's get these babies out of here. See any broth left. I have to add some more here because it looks like a lot of it cooked off. So 4 was the perfect number for this size pot. If I were using a bigger pot, I could do more. So now you can see that we need to add more liquid because with the steam, some of our liquid cooked off. So we're just going to add some more water in here and then be able to recreate that broth. All right, so I'm just going to recreate that, get this off the bottom because that's our flavor still in there. Add a little bit more Worcestershire sauce. Okay, I'm gonna add some more spices before we put our dogs back in there. All right, guys, so remember I told you this was my first time making this recipe. And sometimes recipes don't always come out the way you like them to. Now, while I got a good shape on my hot dogs, look what happened. That rice paper turned out really gummy. And I think the problem was I might have overhydrated it and then steaming it. Not a good idea. But all is not lost. What we're going to do is go ahead and give these a good sear. So next time I'm going to use a different vehicle to wrap them, maybe some soy paper. But I had rice paper and I wanted to try it, and I did. So womp womp, but that's okay. We're still gonna plate these up and eat them, but we're gonna let them get a little sear on them first. So guys, I'm nothing if not transparent. So you get to see me recipe test in real time. So let's make sure. Yeah, there we go. This is going to help with their color also. We're just doing this to get rid of that gumminess because that's not what we want. So because this happened, we are not going to put them back in the dirty water, okay? That would defeat the purpose of what we're doing right now, which is trying to firm them up. So no dirty water this go round. So we're going to let them sit until they're ready to release and then give them a flip. All right, so we've gone ahead and flipped them over. Now we're cooking the other side. So these have gotten a nice sear on them, and I'm going to go ahead and take them out. But I love how they actually look like they've got grill marks, and that's just from where they were resting on the platform that I had them on so that they weren't sitting directly in the water. All right, let's go ahead and take these out. And I'm going to use the same skillet to sear my bread real quick. All right, we have made it to the moment of truth. We're going to go ahead and plate up one of these hot dogs and put all our fixings on there. It's the perfect fit. Look at that. So we've got some sauerkraut. And sauerkraut is just fermented cabbage, which is really good for you. So we're getting Gotta get the kraut tang. It adds that tanginess to your perfect bite. Then we're gonna add our tomato onion combo here. Last but not least, I've got to get a spicy brown mustard. Now, like I said, I used to just do ketchup, mustard, and kraut, but since I got the tomato, I don't need that. All right. Not bad looking. All right, let's give it a taste. All right, guys, for the moment of truth. Time to give this a taste. So we've learned from our mistakes. We know what we need to do better for next time, but let's see if we at least have captured the essence of a New York City street cart hot dog. Oh yeah. That is actually good. So let me show you what it looks like. There's our dog. TV bites. We've got the tanginess from the sauerkraut, hint of sweetness from the tomato, onion, chutney here. It's got the chewiness of a hot dog. This is actually pretty good, guys. Oh yeah. So I will definitely be making this again. This time with a different casing so we can avoid some of those errors, but I'm happy. I'm happy with this. So if you guys do try this recipe, and I'll be posting the correct version with a better casing so that you don't have the issues. But if you try it, please let me know. Be sure to tag me at Physician in the Kitchen. I'm going to finish this one and the other ones off though, because this is good. So be sure to like, share, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you never miss out on any of our plant-powered content. And until next time, guys, I'm Dr. Monique, Physician in the Kitchen, telling you, keep it 100. Plant-based, that is. Eat well. Notes from the lab. I hope you guys enjoyed the premiere of our new series, In the Lab with Dr. Monique, where we test recipes, tweak them, and make them better. The rice paper didn't go quite as planned, so next time I may try soybean paper or use no casing at all. This picture shows how to use parchment paper to steam your hot dogs. If you are not using a casing, it's important to get the dough as smooth as you can while rolling it out. First, lightly coat your hands with neutral oil or water. This prevents sticking and gives you that smooth outer finish. Next, use the roll and pull motion. Place the dough on a flat surface and roll gently while pulling outward from the center to tighten the surface and give a smooth exterior. Cut into even sections and squeeze each one firmly into a log to remove any air pockets. This prevents cracks and uneven textures. Wrap each one in parchment, rolling it up like a candy wrapper and twisting the ends tight. Let them rest for 5 to 10 minutes before cooking. This step relaxes the gluten, helps the surface settle and smooth out. Let them rest again for 5 or 10 minutes after cooking, and of course, remove the parchment paper before eating. Enjoy.